Alright everybody, welcome back to Brown Acre Farm. We just finished up another project today. I made a new and improved chicken or turkey tractor. If you look to my side here, you can see the old one that we have. It's just a little bit too small and too heavy to actually move by hand. It's pretty difficult to move. So also with the way we have the siding on it right now, it's really hard to see as you're pulling it forward to see the chickens or the turkeys that are in there. And if you can't see them, sometimes you can accidentally kind of get a leg caught and you got to stop what you're doing, lift up the whole back end, which is pretty heavy in order to get that chicken or that turkey released. So we went ahead and built this new one here. We're going to be putting our 3 turkeys in here. We have 3 broad-breasted turkeys, so we're raising for the first time this year. It's pretty simple to make, took a little bit of time, but the total dimensions on this thing are, it is 10 foot long by 6 foot high by 6 foot wide. So we started with got all the wood that we needed necessary. Everything was treated because this is ground contact here, and we're going to have to leave this out in the rain. With that, we started by putting the wire mesh on the bottom, basically the bottom 2 feet, which is what this measurement is right here. That way hopefully no raccoons or predators can get their hands in there. Over the top, we just used normal chicken wire. We put a top over that then as well. We put a tarp here in order to protect our birds from the rain. We also used conduit, actually as a nice brace, just your typical conduit. It was 10 foot long. We made some bends into it, which you can kind of see here. And we have 5 of those throughout the chicken tractor here. And then on top, we have a 10-foot piece of conduit kind of hold it all together. So pretty simple, nice galvanized hinges there for us so they don't rust in the rain. Same thing with a nice little latch here, which is pretty nice. You can walk right in and see everything that you want to see there. It's pretty nice. Nice and spacious for them. Still a lot of airflow, which is good. And then you can see on the bottom here, I drilled some holes in order to put a rope. Just any rope will work. This is nylon rope, so it's probably could have used a little more traditional rope because this stuff likes to flex a little bit, but it still works when you pick it up and actually want to move the tractor. I did get these plans from somebody online, but I did modify them a little bit, especially on the back. We had originally we just had one rubber tire on each side. But as Brandon and I were moving this around, we kind of figured out that maybe we should have 2, and it would help us move the tractor a little bit. So that's what we ended up going with. You can see the whole back here has got wire mesh on it. Underneath this tarp is also wire mesh. We've attached it with zip ties to the conduit. And on the inside though, and not even here on the outside a little bit, you can see we use washers and screws to really keep anything from being able to get up underneath there. This is the watering system Brandon and I came up with from looking at other people on YouTube. I actually just take a 5-gallon bucket and a feed dish, and if I can show you here, you go ahead and drill a hole right here. Any size hole is fine. You fill this whole thing up with water until that hole, and you flip it over, and it basically automatically feeds it. We've got 2 turkeys out, so now I'm gonna go deal with that real quick.
The water ends up gravity fed, and then the water line will keep it from overflowing because it will stop up at the hole that we put in it. So it works really well. We use this for all of our chickens, our laying hens, turkeys, any kind of bird that we have on the farm. And 5 gallons lasts a while, which is nice and means a little less work for us. He's still chasing that turkey.
What if I just try to chase him into it? You ready to stand through that door a little bit there? Like come up considerably.
This is turkey herding, Brown Acre Farm style. Good turkey.
One in. We'll get the water later.
Hopefully no one else escapes. Your friends are coming. We also wanted to move the turkeys out of that chicken tractor into this one because they were going to get too tall for that pretty quickly. that water over, and then it'll just fill up, we'll drink out of it, and it will not overflow. Alright, they look pretty happy. Another project in the books. Thank you for watching. Now we're gonna move on to our next project.
All right, the other reason why we had to make the new chicken slash turkey tractor is because we got our meat birds in a few weeks ago, and they've been in the brooder in our basement, nice and warm, or cool depending on how warm it's been here in Ohio. So this year we actually did something a little bit different. Normally every year we get the Cornish cross chicken. We decided not to do that this year and try a different breed. So we're trying the American breast chicken this year. We got these from North Star Farms out of North Carolina. And our goal with these is, as though they do not get as big as the Cornish cross, typically those get anywhere between 8 and 10 pounds depending on male versus female. The American breast, which is a descendant of the French breast chicken, which is supposed to be the best tasting chicken in the world, one, but two, they actually also lay eggs after 16 weeks. So they don't get as big as the Cornish cross. They'll probably be about 6, if we're lucky, 6 pounds. So we actually have 25 here. We're going to be replacing the hens that we have that lay eggs for us. We're going to keep about 8 of these hens. We'll probably keep 1 or 2 roosters, so we're roughly going to keep 10 of these guys, and the other 15 we're going to process. But a little bit different than the Cornish cross. The Cornish cross only take 8 weeks, usually 7 to 8 weeks, depending on what size you're looking for, until you butcher them. These ones actually take a full 16 rather. So we'll have these ones for 16 weeks. We'll have our turkeys for 16 weeks, actually 17 weeks because they're a week older. And then we'll take them to the butcher in the middle of September, and then we'll get our meat back for the year. So typically we actually raise a few more birds than this, but this year we're trying to slow down a little bit with our meat, just because we have more pigs. We usually buy a steer every year with our family. We don't raise them, but we do buy them. So we've got basically freezers full of meat already. So we're kind of cutting back on that a little bit. Something else that's really nice about these birds is you don't have to do the 12 hours on, 12 hours off with feed like you do with the Cornish cross. So that's kind of an added benefit there. So we just have to check their feed and water every day. Usually you can just look through the wire mesh that we have down here and see if everything's good. And then we will move them the length of the chicken tractor. We'll move them that length every day, and that way they have fresh grass, and then their nitrogen in their poop actually doesn't kill our grass as well. So but that's one of the other main reasons why we had to build that second chicken tractor, or bird tractor if you will, and hopefully we'll be building more in the future, but for now I think we're pretty content with this. And I know these guys and gals are super happy. If you come over here and look, you can see them pecking away at the grass, eating anything they can. So they're definitely much happier in this environment than in a coop or in our basement. So that's pretty much what's going on there. The other thing that we did add for this chicken tractor too, and I recommend that you do this if you live in lower ground, is we've actually added a nice 4x4 piece right here. We just lay it in here up against the side, and that's because we have this in our backyard, not in our 5 acres, but in our actual backyard. So we have some really low spots, unfortunately, and when that happens, a lot of our ground here is sand. So a lot of times we get a heavy downpour. Unfortunately, the sand isn't fast enough to keep up with that, so we just get puddles and puddles up. So this keeps them drier. It keeps them from stomping on each other and anybody potentially drowning. So we've added that feature. We'll do the same thing for the turkeys, even though they're a little bit bigger. I'll probably throw another one in here since we have 25 birds in here just to keep everybody safe. But if you ever see that in the video, that's why we have it. It's in order to keep the birds as safe as possible. They seem very happy. So we'll let them hang out.